Well, everybody, hey, gold and silver are just about in a vertical line on the chart here today. At least gold is. Gold's at 1479.90 right now. It was 1480 a minute ago. 4260 for silver. I've been kind of out of it a little bit. I've been paying attention, but I've been working on something else, and I'm not a very big multitasker, so I had to take a break from the computer for a little bit. But the someone asked me, what I thought was going on, and where do I think it was going to go from here. And the news over the last week, when you look at the budget battle, which is really just a farce, and it just shows you how oblivious our elected officials are at what's about to happen to this country. They weren't able to really. They both claimed a victory in coming together and compromise and cutting 38 billion from our budget. The same day it went up 54 billion. So that our debt went up 54 billion. So I just don't think they're serious enough. I don't think, Ron Paul has said in the past that he thought that they wouldn't really let it come to an absolute collapse or a crash or hyperinflation, because he thought at that point that they would just see the writing on the wall. But I got to think that Ron Paul is pretty disgusted with the whole situation right now, because these people are oblivious. And I think that adds to why gold and silver are going up. I mean, when the world looks at the Americans, and they can't even agree to cut, to bail some of the water out of a boat that is sinking, the only option that they have is to get out of the dollar and put their money into something like precious metals that are going to hold their value or go up. So I think on a world level, when the world sees that, that's exactly what's going to happen. They just say, you know what, these Americans are screwing around, and I'm not going to put my money in their country. So I think that's one thing causing the metals to go up. The other thing is Obama came out just yesterday, I guess it was, last night, and said that the Republicans are going to turn this country into a third world nation. And he's only got that half right, because it's going to be the other half of that equation is the Democrats. The Democrats and Republicans, hand in hand, brought this country to its knees, and they're going to make it a third world nation. But something more important, that he's done running the con game. There's no confidence game being run on the American people. Gone are the rosy, we can get it done, we're going to cut it and we're going to save it, Social Security, Medicare. Now, he's coming right out and said they're going to be guilty of making us a third world nation, which means that they understand that there's a collapse coming. He just admitted it to the world, that they see that coming, but they have an inability to work with each other to do what's right and to cut what they need to cut to save it, to stop it from happening. So, because neither party wants to give the other party the credit for saving anything, they're going to let the ship go down. And it's despicable, and the blame lays on the American voter for continuing to elect these people. And you know what? Mitt Romney and all these other guys will come out and parade around this time, and Obama himself, and they'll vote for him again. So enough said there. I get tired of seeing the same people make the same mistakes over and over, expecting a different result. It doesn't work. So I think with a global perspective, you have the president admitting to the world that we're about to become a third world nation if something isn't done. You have two parties who refuse to work with each other and make any real substantial cuts. Plus, the CBO came out and said that budget cut, the 38 billion that they were cutting, doesn't really cut 38 billion. What it cuts is 353 million, I think it was. So it just shows you what a joke, bunch of Keystone cops we have up there. And that shows the world we're not serious about cutting anything. Today you had Ireland. Moody's downgraded Ireland a couple points. The debt crisis over there in Greece. All these things are weighing, and all these things are going to push the metals up. Even last week when silver went over 40, I expected that there would be some serious profit taken. But I mean, there was only a small pullback before it shot back up, and now we're over 42 today. I think the writing is on the wall, and I think more and more people are seeing it, and that's what's causing these prices to go up. So I think that, where do I think it's going? I think metals are going up. Obviously, there's always going to be a correction somewhere along the way. People taking taking their profit. But I think we've all but admitted to the world that we're not willing to do what we need to do to make this right. We're not willing to go through any pain. We're willing to keep snowballing the American people, and it's just not gonna. I think the jig is up. You got the Brics who met over the past week. They're adamant about removing the dollar as a world currency. China agreed and Russia agreed together that Russia was going to borrow. I think it was 500 billion won from China. They're going to they added South Africa to the Brics nations, so they're all going to try to have their own economic alliance, I guess you could say, where they're going to use their currencies, I would suppose, eventually. They're really trying to cut us out. They have economic might behind them. They have most of the world's population, and they're starting to flex their muscle. And that means for us Americans that prices go up, because all the resources and all the things that we're used to having are going to start funneling to those regions because they have the money. We don't have the money, and why would you want to wait for the money from an American when you can get the money right away if you're trading with these partners over there? So I think it's bad. I think it's real bad. And the economic collapse that's coming, if these people do not get serious, it's going to be brutal. Yeah, they talk about their jobs reports, but what kind of jobs are they making? Part-time jobs, waitress, waiter, dietary aides, gas station, little retail jobs, and then they lose on the back end of that. They have to admit that they lost, I think it was 80,000 jobs, real jobs that were paying people. So we're not getting out of this. It's not improving, regardless of what these clowns in Washington are trying to spin to us. So, again, we have to protect ourselves. I think it's at the point now where we just got to think about our families. We have to buy the food that we need. We have to protect if you have assets, protect it with hard assets. All the same stuff that we've been talking about. I don't see any improvement in it, and I wish it would improve. I have kids who are going to grow up in this nation. I have kids who are going to inherit whatever nation I leave them, and it's kind of sad that people who would call themselves adults in Washington, and even the voters, people who would normally wouldn't, in any other situation, wouldn't keep picking the same people. They just keep doing the same thing over and over again. So, kind of a bummer message, but that's where we're at. And a lot of it's our own fault, and a lot of it is we keep believing these promises that the people are telling us. But like I said, protect yourself. Keep an eye on what's going on. Keep an eye on the markets. And we can't save the world, and we can't save America from the top down. And I'm more and more convinced every day. The more I think about it, the more I research about it. You're not going to make any changes in this country from the top down. It's going to happen from the bottom up. It's going to happen from the community level to city, county, state. It has to work from the bottom up because the people at the top are absolutely oblivious, if not just criminally involved, if not criminally complicit in what's going on. And, that's what I believe. I believe that's where we're at. So, like I've said in other videos, get to know your neighbors, try to work in your own community. There's farmers markets, there's all kinds of things that go on that we even do here, my wife and I. So, kind of it for today, maybe kind of a long one today, but take care.